Marriage is, in its naked reality, a strategy by the society to keep everybody under control.
Imagine someone telling you that everything you know about love, marriage, and commitment is a lie, a trap created by society to keep you bound, not free. Well, that's exactly what Osho, one of the most controversial spiritual leaders of the 20th century, believed. He declared marriage unnecessary, even dangerous, arguing that true love can only exist without the chains of legal contracts and societal expectations. In a world where marriage is seen as the ultimate commitment, Osho's message wasn't just shocking, it was revolutionary. But was he onto something, or was he just courting scandal? Let's dive into Osho's scandalous view on marriage, love, and why he thought freedom, not commitment, was the key to true connection. Chapter 1. Osho's Radical Philosophy of Love and Freedom. To understand why Osho dismissed marriage as a lie, we first need to grasp his radical views on love and freedom. Osho believed that love and freedom were inseparable. He taught that true love could only flourish in an environment free from attachment, jealousy, or possessiveness. For him, love was not about holding on, but about letting go. Now, imagine a love where there are no expectations, no strings attached. Does that sound freeing or terrifying? Osho argued that conventional relationships often turn into emotional prisons because people cling to one another out of insecurity. According to him, true love means giving someone complete freedom to be themselves, rather than trying to control or possess them. But he wasn't simply promoting detachment. He believed that a love without attachment allowed individuals to grow and connect more deeply than traditional relationships ever could. Chapter 2. Marriage as a Legal Contract and a Social Trap. Osho's critique of marriage went beyond just relationships. It was a critique of society itself. He saw marriage as a legal contract designed to force people into roles that didn't reflect true love. In his view, marriage wasn't a union of souls. It was an institution created for social control, a way to keep individuals bound to certain norms and responsibilities. Think about it. Are we really marrying for love, or are we marrying for security? And at what cost? Osho believed that society promoted marriage not for the benefit of individuals, but for the sake of order and stability. He argued that marriage created a structure where love became an obligation rather than a choice. To Osho, traditional marriage was less about joy and more about maintaining social expectations. It turned spontaneous affection into a duty, leading people to stay in relationships out of fear rather than love. Chapter 3. The Concept of Free Love and the Absence of Attachment. Central to Osho's teaching was the idea of free love, a love that exists without attachment, ownership, or exclusivity. He argued that attachment wasn't a sign of love, but of insecurity, and that jealousy and possessiveness were symptoms of a fear-based connection rather than genuine affection. Imagine if love could be experienced fully, deeply, but without ownership or control. Could this be the answer to lasting happiness? For Osho, love without attachment meant that two people could be together while allowing each other the freedom to connect with others. He encouraged his followers to view love as a beautiful experience rather than a possession. This idea became a cornerstone of the lifestyle in his communities, where open relationships were embraced and exclusivity was often discouraged. While this attracted many followers who sought freedom from traditional norms, it also stirred up intense controversy. Chapter 4. The Critique and Controversy, Freedom or Fear of Commitment. Osho's teachings sparked a fierce backlash, with critics arguing that his philosophy on love promoted fear of commitment rather than genuine freedom. By emphasizing freedom over attachment, his detractors claimed, Osho encouraged people to avoid the challenges and responsibilities that come with long-term relationships. In the eyes of his critics, Osho's teachings on love fostered a fear of commitment, making it easy for people to walk away instead of working through relationship difficulties. Is freedom from attachment really the path to enlightenment, or is it just an excuse to avoid commitment? Critics argued that Osho's emphasis on open relationships and non-attachment was overly idealistic and didn't reflect the real emotional needs that arise in long-term relationships. While commitment can indeed lead to dependency, many people feel that attachment and commitment are essential for building deep, trusting connections. They questioned whether true intimacy could develop without the stability and security that commitment provides. To these critics, Osho's teachings on marriage weren't just unconventional, they were a threat to the very foundation of relationships. Chapter 5. Inside the Osho Communities, a Culture of Free Love. In Osho's ashrams, particularly in Pune, India, and later in Rajneeshpuram, Oregon, his philosophy of free love was more than just a theory, it was a way of life. Followers were encouraged to practice non-attachment, and this often meant exploring relationships without exclusive commitments. The atmosphere at these communities embraced open relationships, and it wasn't uncommon for members to have multiple partners as they explored love beyond societal norms. But what happens when free love becomes the rule, not the exception? Are boundaries erased, or does love lose its meaning? The culture of free love in Osho's communities became a focal point of media scrutiny. Outsiders, particularly the local community around Rajneeshpuram, viewed the lifestyle as immoral and hedonistic. Reports of free love circulated widely, leading to rumors and sensational stories that painted the movement as a cult of promiscuity. For Osho's critics, his philosophy seemed like a self-serving justification for indulgence rather than a path to enlightenment. Despite the backlash, many of Osho's followers described the experience as transformative, explaining that non-attachment helped them overcome jealousy and possessiveness. For them, free love was a liberating force that allowed them to explore deeper aspects of themselves and their relationships. They felt that Osho's teachings helped them see love not as something to be owned, but as something to be shared freely. Chapter 6. The impact of Osho's teachings on modern love and relationships. Osho's ideas on marriage and love have continued to resonate, especially in today's world, where traditional relationship structures are being questioned more than ever. His belief that love and freedom should coexist has influenced the rise of open relationships, polyamory, and alternative relationship models that challenge traditional frameworks. In a society where divorce rates are high and monogamy is increasingly questioned, Osho's ideas have found new relevance. Could it be that Osho's scandalous ideas on marriage and love were simply ahead of their time? For many, Osho's call to love without attachment has been a guiding principle, especially for those who feel confined by traditional relationship expectations. Concepts like self-love, non-attachment, and open relationships owe a part of their popularity to Osho's influence. While his teachings remain controversial, they continue to inspire individuals to explore new ways of connecting with others. However, the critique still stands. Some argue that open relationships lack the stability required for deep emotional connections, and that commitment, far from being a trap, is a foundation for lasting love. This ongoing debate reflects the lasting impact and divisive nature of Osho's teachings. Was Osho right about marriage? So, was Osho right about marriage being a lie, a construct that restricts rather than liberates? For some, his teachings are a pathway to a more authentic, open experience of love. For others, his ideas undermine the trust, stability, and commitment that define meaningful relationships. Osho's stance on marriage challenged not only social norms, but also deeply personal beliefs about love, attachment, and freedom. In the end, Osho's philosophy serves as both an inspiration and a provocation. It encourages us to question our own assumptions about relationships and to explore whether true love might indeed exist beyond attachment and ownership. Whether you agree or disagree, one thing is certain. Osho's scandalous teachings on marriage continue to push boundaries, inviting us to redefine what love and freedom really mean. So, where do you stand? Is marriage a sacred bond, or is it, as Osho claimed, a social construct that binds rather than frees? Share your thoughts, and let's dive deeper into these questions about love, freedom, and the nature of commitment.